Welcome to Absolutely Marvel and DC, the newest project from Sal and I. Today we're going to talk about what happened in WandaVision Episode 7. A little late to the table, but there's a lot of things going on. All right, so WandaVision Episode 7. Let me give you a quick recap. Spoilers if you have not watched the show, but why would you watch the WandaVision Episode 7 recap if you didn't watch it already?
Watch the show. What are you doing? What are you doing with your life?
We start the show off, Darcy is now the escape artist. She's with Vision. Vision is reassembled. He's trying to find a way back. It turns out that Wanda is kind of stopping her from getting back. Monica Rambeau breaks through the wall. We discover she has powers. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Using those powers, she pushes over to find Wanda. Wanda comes out, sees Monica. We do the usual superhero, we don't understand, let's fight. And then Agatha comes over, and we find out Agatha's actually behind a lot of stuff. She brings Wanda back to her house while Monica runs off. Vision's still trying to get back to the house to find out what's going on. Now I realize it. He didn't make it back the whole episode, did he? Like, the whole episode is just him trying to get back there.
just literally trying to walk, like, probably a mile.
Wanda goes into Agatha's location. The kids are missing. And we discover that there's a bunch of vines and creepy stuff in the basement. Looks like potentially the Darkhold is either being retconned or fixed, or it's a different book, because there was a lot of them.
Different book?
Yeah, I was like,
I didn't see a D on that book, but
everyone's like, it's the Darkhold, and I'm like, they like to reference Doctor Strange, that scene, and I'm just sitting there like, there's a lot of books. Like,
yeah, there's a lot of magic tomes in the Marvel Universe. You know, to paraphrase Gandalf, it's like there are many magic books and none should be taken lightly.
Right.
But yeah, I think because the Darkhold is so iconic, it's just a D. It's a D. It's a lowercase D.
Yeah.
And there's no D on that book unless it's like, oh no, I was showing the back cover. Like, no.
Well, hold on. I'm not done my recap. So she goes down there.
Please,
Agatha comes in. We discover purple powers with the red powers. Everyone's got magic. And then we get the Monsters theme. It was Agatha all along.
yeah. Really, that beat slaps. Let me tell you, that's they put that on Spotify. Like, that was so catchy.
It really
They
was
released
catchy.
it as like a promo for the show. It's actually like available on YouTube as like a thing you could watch that sells the show to you.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen that before, where they're just like, we isolated a massive spoiler, and that is our promo for the show you should watch.
Did you see the post-credit scene or mid-credit scene?
Yes, I did see
I didn't even know it existed. And someone's like, did you watch it? And I'm like, I go back and I scroll through it. It doesn't matter if you missed it, but to help with the recap, Monica finds the basement. Pietro shows up, touches her. She gets purple eyes.
Yeah, and now it's like, because you could have had 1,000 rumors or theories about what Pietro's role is in this because of the Agatha song.
Yeah.
But then we get the mid-credits scene, which, by the way, boo and fi on them for their like excruciating 10-minute long end credit scene with post-credit scene
7
for
minutes.
6 episodes.
Yeah. Why?
And then the 7th episode, mid-credits.
Why didn't they just do mid-credits all the way through? Even if it was just gags, one-off gags.
Yeah.
To preface that there would be one. Because it's not even like it's the 9th episode and we get a post-credit. Because I'm expecting one on the 9th episode. But the 7th?
There's got to be a tease.
And,
the 7th? Come on.
I'm going to be even madder if there's nothing on the 8th one.
Oh my God. It better be non-stop mid-credit sequences from here on to the end of the show, because otherwise, what are you doing? It's maddening, because every time the show ends, I'm like, oh no, it's over. I gotta wait a whole week. And then I turn it off immediately because I'm sick of waiting through the credits to see if there's gonna be something at the end. And after the first 3 episodes, I'm like, they're not gonna do anything. Meh. And then the only thing that spoiled me about episode 7, the only spoiler I got was there was a mid-credit sequence. So I was like, I knew to wait for it. So my wife and I are watching the show, and she's like, no, it's over. And then I'm like, there's a little more. And she's like, oh. So we watched the mid-credits, which was, I think, 15 seconds or less.
Yeah, it's super short. Okay, so first off, let's start. I want to ask, first question, most important thing. Do we think that the ultimate villain of Please Stand By is going to be how they end every episode of this TV show? It's just going to be a different version of Please Stand By?
Right? Yeah. You know what? I bet that's Mephisto.
I love that is still the meme, that everything is Mephisto. So that's the first thing I guess we could talk about. I find the call-outs that it's Mephisto hilarious.
Yeah.
Because what did I miss where Mephisto is suddenly a thing? Because he barely talks to Wanda. He's not even in House of M, which is what this is based on.
No.
He's not in Vision, which is the other thing it's based on.
Yeah. No, well, because we're dealing with magic. We're dealing with, and I think that like MCU fans / comic book fans want there to be another big bad, another Thanos, but like we've already done space and we kind of nerfed Ultron. So
Yeah,
what can we do?
Too, so he's done.
Yeah. So what can we do? And because of we're getting Spider-Verse, which is multiverses, we're getting Doctor Strange, which is multiverses and magic, and we're dealing with Wanda, which is also magic and multiverses. It's like who is the big bad?
Mephisto is a well-known big bad, because you are right. We had Ultron, we had Thanos. I've just found it funny since the beginning that every time something came up, it's Nightmare, it's Mephisto, it's Nightmare, it's Mephisto. Like,
yeah, and it's like I don't think it's either of them, but I also just from a narrative standpoint, I don't think that they're going to end the show and be like, woohoo, the literal devil is here. Like it would yes, would comic book fans be like, huzzah? Which, by the way, is Mephisto really your favorite supervillain? Name 3 stories in which he is your favorite villain.
The last thing Mephisto was even in, he's chained up by Doctor Strange and Ghost Rider, and he gets dragged across the states. Like, he's not an imposing villain. Ghost Rider's like, I'm taking him, and he just drags him. Like,
or when he was an imposing villain, he was so powerful that it's like not worth fighting him. That it doesn't make for tension or fun. It's just kind of weird. So I don't think they're going to end it with Mephisto. I think that it's going to be a character that you could name that actually could be defeated.
So I was talking with Dylan because we had a discussion about end theories, and he was saying he doesn't really think there's going to be a big bad. I think that there isn't going to be like an overall big bad. Like, I do think Agatha is going to be kind of our finale villain. But I think we're going to find somebody was pulling the strings, which is how this is going to link into the multiverse of madness. Now, I'm not against them using the idea of Cthulhu. For those of you guys who don't know, Cthulhu is actually where Wanda gets this kind of power in the comics. In Avengers Disassembled, House of M, and the stuff that she's in.
Decimation.
Decimation, that's it. She gets that power from being possessed by Cthulhu and then holding him, which is basically Marvel's Elder God Cthulhu. That's basically what he is.
Yeah, it's Cthulhu. Yeah.
I feel like if they were to go, if they're going to introduce an Elder God, I think an Elder God would make sense for the finale, because you could link that in and be like, well, Dormammu is also one. I do feel like if you did Cthulhu or a likewise replica of him, going in the direction of like Cthulhu as opposed to the literal devil would be more family friendly. Because the literal devil's a little tight for the family friendly Disney, I think.
Not only that, but it kind of like aligns yourself in a religious kind of direction, even though Mephisto is pretty much non-secular. Like, Mephisto isn't really the devil. He is an elder creature who likes to look like the devil because he knows that frightens people. He also sometimes looks like a Venus flytrap with big boobs.
Yeah.
Like, Mephisto has many faces and body types, and But the one that everyone knows is the one where he looks like the devil. And even though you could try and have a character who you trust say, that's not the literal devil, it doesn't matter because the optics on it are the devil versus the Marvel Universe, which ultimately parents groups and religious groups are going to be like, yeah, like, as opposed to Shumagorath shows up. And it's like, well, that ain't nothing. Like, I can harpoon that.
I don't want them to do Mephisto for that exact reason, because I feel like if they do introduce Mephisto, he's going to be nerfed. He's going to be Ultron. He's not going to be the big bad devil. He's going to be, they probably won't even say the word demon. I'm a magically based villain. Like, that's basically all we're going to get from him, in my opinion. I might be wrong. We could be proved wrong in a week. Who knows?
Yeah.
How do you feel? I felt the lack of Pietro interesting in this episode. Like, he just didn't show up.
Just wasn't in it. I mean, and when we talked about the previous episode where I was like, wow, like, Wanda really, like, let him have it. And people were like, no. Like, it's just, she still cares about him. And I'm like, no, she does not. She's off the Pietro bandwagon. She's like, no, he is not real.
When she moved forward, he's not in the house anymore. He's out.
Yeah.
So you were like, oh, she threw him aside. And I'm like, oh, no, she just chucked him into the hay. And I'm like, I think you're right. I think no, you're not real. Get out of my face. Like, because he wasn't in the house.
Right.
How did you feel about the Modern Family vibe, Office vibe? I really liked this episode.
Yeah, it was fun. I'm glad that they're still using it, because we were talking about, what eras, what iterations of TV are we going to see them lampoon. And it was like a mesh of Modern Family meets The Office. And it's like, that's pretty cool. Like, that's cool. And I liked it. I'm glad they used it as a framing device, but I also like that kind of Vision is like the physical step of, we're not going to probably do this anymore. Like, when he's like sitting there and he's like, what am I even doing? I'm like, yes, use your flight powers and get out of here.
I did like how they talked to the cast only to reveal that it was Agatha that was actually like, she was like, you're not supposed to talk. Oh, no, it was Agatha. It was Agatha all along.
All along.
I did really like the Vision stuff, the cutaways, the look away, and he's just taking the mic. And what am I doing?
Yeah, exactly.
and then I love that he flew away in the cutaway, but he's back in the truck and he just darts up through the ceiling. Just ditches Darcy right there. Like Darcy
I kind
showed
of
up
expected him to carry
explain-
her. Yeah, I kind of expected him to be like to scoop her up and be like, let's go. Why are we driving?
Yeah, he just ditches her there. And she's like, okay.
Yeah.
I was a little sad that he didn't make it back to the house at all.
Right?
What do you think about
Yeah.
the kids, the lack of the kids?
I mean, it's suspicious. At first, I was like, well, yeah, you don't want to have like, because she like hugs them, and then Wanda wonders where they are. They're not in the house anymore. It's ominous. Here's the thing. Normally, I would be like, oh, like she probably has them like chained up somewhere or turned into bunnies or put something.
I actually thought maybe that they were the bug and the bunny. Now, obviously, those can
Right.
tie into Agatha, witchcraft, all this kinds of stuff easily. I felt the cockroach was either one of the kids or the cockroach was implying her losing control and this universe is falling apart. This Westview is not in a good shape. Like, we're made to believe it's in a good shape.
Right.
But what if the kids got turned into those?
Right. My concern is that, like, there is a precedent, at least in the comics, of them literally being unmade. And my concern is that Agatha unmade them.
Yeah. But I see it'd be kind of sad because I was kind of excited to see if Wiccan and
Me too.
Tommy would stick around. Yeah, like were they going to be a part of things?
I hope they didn't get unmade because I like that we are it. I don't want Wiccan and Speed to be relegated to like a Netflix costume wink and a nod type thing. Like Luke Cage, I'm wearing the tiara, but it's stupid and I'm never going to wear the tiara. Like Wiccan and Speed, like, look, they're Wiccan and Speed, but like, obviously we're not going to actually do Young Avengers. I mean, that would be ridiculous. Like, no, like, do that. Keep the kids, age them up a little bit. Like, age them up a little more.
Just let them keep aging up. And now they're older.
Right. And now they're Young Avengers age.
What you got to get like major? I mean, I'm trying to think. There's so much happened in this episode, but didn't happen at the same time. Like Vision not making it back, Pietro not showing up.
Right.
Monica Rambeau was interesting to see with the powers.
Yes, the powers thing was surprising and exciting for me because, they implied powers. I remember the CAT scan, people were like, what does that mean? And I'm like, they're not gonna do photon like now. Like they're not gonna do it like right away. Like
I
who
thought
knows?
Photon
Maybe
was
it's a
going to show up
mystery.
in Captain Marvel 2, and they were going to be like, "Oh, you could have seen more of Monica in WandaVision."
Exactly, but like no, in this show she has friggin' powers. She does a superhero landing. We get the whole gamut. She doesn't necessarily know. I think she's suspected she has powers, but I didn't think she's like. I don't think she's all in on having powers. I think she's like, I'm kind of dealing with one thing at a time. Like, I do know that I can, like, knock doors off their hinges, but I'll deal with that in a minute. I'm trying to save Wanda right now.
Yeah.
And I think that's, like, really... I think that's exciting, but I'm also like, I think we're going to get, like, another superhero out of this show, especially because her sword outfit is reminiscent of her Captain Marvel Photon Spectrum costume.
Right. I think it's going to be kind of cool. I wasn't expecting the full introduction. Which also makes me wonder, there is the only leak we have, as far as I know, that has been confirmed, is Paul Bettany said that the the inclusion of Pietro wasn't who he was hinting at. So there is somebody else coming to the show that we're not expecting. So who do you think that could be?
I think that because my speculation and everybody else's speculation don't always coalesce. Like I was like. I thought it was a throwaway line about like this super smart person she knows, and people being like, "It's a Reed Richards," and I'm like, "What?" Like, you're really reading into a lot of things. Like, everybody's looking for those Mephisto clues.
But they keep dragging it out, Sal.
And then the fact they keep dragging it out, and the fact that a couple of other like speculative things have come to light, it's like, I don't necessarily think it's going to be Reed Richards, but I do think that is the reveal. I think the reveal will be her smart friend. Like,
see, I think we're going to get a reveal, and I'm in the camp of thinking that it's Blue Marvel. But I don't think that's who Paul Bettany was talking about. Because whoever is cast for that role isn't going to be like, oh my God! I'm actually expecting, I'm in the camp of it being Doctor Strange showing up at the ending to directly link these.
I expect Doctor Strange, and I expect him so much that I hope that's not the surprise. Like, like, I expected Doctor Strange because they said Wanda was going to be in Doctor Strange 2. I was like, oh, well, then Doctor Strange will show up in the show. Because Benedict Cumberbatch apparently has, like, I guess a zipper in the back of this suit, so it's just not hard to put on. Like, he's happy to wear the Doctor Strange costume. He's been in, like, how many movies is Doctor Strange now? He was in Thor. He was in 2 Avengers movies, his own movie. So that's 4 movies.
Well, in the defense of that, his costume's kind of one of the easiest ones to put on. Did you see what they have to go through to get Vision in that makeup?
Oh, yeah. I feel bad for him. But he's got all those necklaces and those bracelets and stuff. Anyway, I genuinely hope it's not Doctor Strange. Because, like, here's the thing. It's not like it's it's not a surprise. B, I've seen Doctor Strange in 4 movies already. Like, that's not a big surprise. Okay. That's cool, so and I want him to be in it. But, like,
let's assume for a moment that it's not going to be a new character like Reed Richards or Blue Marvel.
Right.
Who, if they were going to pull another Pietro, established character from another universe or this universe, who would be a good choice? What if it was Michael Fassbender showing up as Magneto and going, I know your history, you're actually my daughter.
Right.
And, like, that's just where they leave it. And you're just like, what?
Yeah, I genuinely am cool with that. Like, if it's McAvoy as Professor X, if it's Fassbender as Magneto, I'll take either. I remember, I will say this. I remember seeing an interview, and I think I talked about this before in other shows. Patrick Stewart said that Feige talked to him about returning as Professor X, like, in the MCU. Now, Patrick Stewart is up there in age, and he pushed to drive a dune buggy in the last Star Trek movie. So, like, I don't take everything he says as canon or as something I want to see. But I will say that if Feige talked to Patrick Stewart, that happened. And if it did, it could be that maybe he wanted him to show up in a multiverse movie like Doctor Strange 2. It could be that he's like, nah, we cast J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson. All bets are off. We just pick the best ones and just make them the characters. But I think that if they were talking to Stewart, then since he passed, I think they're thinking Professor X. And if they are thinking Professor X, maybe they'll call McAvoy and he'll show up.
Okay, so what if the tagline is like something involving McAvoy showing up and it's mutants now?
Right. I think that because of Pietro, it is mutants.
What if Wanda ends this? Instead of no more mutants, she basically says more like me, and the mutants are born in this universe.
Oh, more like me. I like that. That'd be fine with me. Okay, well, we have like the writing on the wall for a big bubble to envelop the Earth, because that hex field is getting bigger and bigger, and if she's pushed to her limits, or if, like, Agatha augments her powers, or whatever happens, she could envelop the entire world, and then mutants happen.
Yeah, I like the chat saying, no, more mutants. The only reason I don't think they would do that line is someone would have to tell her what a mutant is first. Like, they haven't used that phrase. It's like when they made the comment about that. Well, does she have any funny code names? They haven't called her Scarlet Witch. Like,
I can't believe they haven't.
And they haven't used the phrase mutants, but they also haven't actually dubbed what Pietro and her are. They haven't said what, like, they don't have a name. So
they sat on that since before Ultron, where they were like, oh, these miracles, and we use the stone, and it's like, the Mind Stone gave them powers. How would that work? I mean, like, how does any of it work? It's all fake. But, like, really? I don't know. I think it's more like they're miracles in that they were born with powers, and the Mind Stone made us able to use them. Like, we were able to force them into fighting for Baron von Strucker, as opposed to being, like, free agents that are like, what? You look like a Nazi. I'm not fighting for you.
And then McAvoy shows up. tells her that she's actually a mutant and that she should renounce her powers and end all of this. And she responds with, no, more mutants, and we get the X-Men.
Fine by me. I'm fine with that at this point. Like, go for it. Yeah, more mutants. I mean, like, do it. I think that we could see, I mean, like, the image of that close-up of Wanda's mouth with tears streaming down her face saying that line, like, that's so cinematic. We could definitely see that being, like, a shot in this show.
Yeah.
But I also think that, these people are creative in their own right, and they want to put their own stamp on it. I don't know if they're going to want to do the No More Mutants thing. I think they might want to just do the Deus Ex of her just waving her hands, and then, boom, mutants happen. And I'm okay with that.
All right. Well, anything else you want to talk about episode 7 or the future of WandaVision? Because we're going to talk about this again real soon, because we're doing this at Absolutely Marvel and DC, our new channel.
That's right.
Where we literally talk about TV shows and movies, primarily Marvel and DC. Hence the name.
Yeah.
There will be other shows. I'm going to watch Gilmore Girls, and we're doing a Gilmore Girls thing.
Yes. I've heard rumors there's going to be a 10th episode that they've like secretly been working on one.
I talked about that with Dylan earlier on the theories thing. I don't think that there's secretly a 10th episode. There's the running thing. They announced that behind the scenes thing of all these shows. I think that's the 10th episode. I think they just needed to slot them in for 10 episodes. The one about WandaVision is going to be interviews and stuff.
Okay.
Because here's my theory behind that. What would be the point in hiding a 10th episode?
Right.
We already know that there's 9. They've already kept all the title secret.
Yeah.
Like, the reveal of a 10th episode isn't that big of a reveal. It'd be like, there's another one.
That would be pretty exciting. It'd be like, oh crap, like I thought it was over and I'm getting a whole other episode.
It'll be exciting at that time, but I don't think it would have the staying power to warrant like all this secrecy behind it,
It doesn't need the staying power. It's just because they don't, like, the world is different now. Like, we're just trying to capitalize on the week,
That's true.
Like, I mean, why is it that Zack Snyder drops a Justice League tease on Fridays?
Why is it always in a weird black and white filter?
He likes those colors, but like it's to compete with that week, because it's like, oh man, WandaVision's trending. Well, then also the Snyder Cut's trending.
That's
like
true.
Also DC, like it's to catch that week. And I think it's funny because it's like I know it's not, but it'd be hilarious to be like, yeah, listen, I've got a still of Martian Manhunter, I got a still of Darkseid, I got a still of everybody. Trust me, I've got 9 episodes worth of Snyder Cut spoilers to drop to compete every week, and then it's like 10th episode. What?
That's not a bad idea. No one's prepared for 10, so if they were to just slip it out there, it would throw everyone for a loop. It would also explain that 1 week gap between it and Winter Soldier.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Disney does not want you to have a week to go, do I need Disney Plus? No. Next week, Winter Soldier.
True.
Next week, Falcon. Like, no, a week gap of like, oh, what's on Disney Plus this week? Nothing. Next week is Falcon Winter Soldier. Next week, but I don't want to spend $9 today. Like, cancel. Like, I don't know. Who knows? It's interesting. There's a lot of potential for here. Like, we could get crazy outside studio actor. We could get big status quo shift for the entire Marvel universe. We could get big tease for the X-Men, big Fantastic Four reveal, a secret episode, the villain reveal. Doctor Strange. We could have like a little Defenders team. Of magic users. Brother Voodoo could show up. Like, we don't know what's gonna happen.
Brother Voodoo.
Because he's got magic.
All bets are off when it comes to the MCU at this point. Like you remember back in the day, they'd be like, "We're gonna introduce Ant-Man," and we'd be like, "No one's gonna care about Ant-Man. Why are you doing that?"
Yeah, and then they were like, Paul Rudd. Oh, all right. I guess I'm watching Ant-Man.
So, yeah. All right, well, this was a roundup of episode 7 of WandaVision. There should be a lot more content coming out here to Absolutely Marvel and DC. For me, Sal, Dylan, and Dan, stick around. We're going to be talking Easter eggs, theories, recaps of the episodes, reviews of your favorite shows, and let us know in the comments down below other shows you want Sal and I to be watching, because we're going to start doing some recaps on older stuff that we missed out on. Like, we'll watch Nick Fury with David Hasselhoff if we break 1,000 subs.
Sweet.
Yeah, I just surprised him with that. Anyway, we'll see. Thank you guys so much. Don't forget to hit that subscription, hit that like button, turn on that bell for notifications. We're hoping to become your one-stop source for all information. Hoping, maybe. We'll figure it out later. But whatever. Stick around. Thank you.